Hi everybody, Kelly Clement here from MetaStock. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Fire 2.0. Now Fire is a product that we've offered historically and discontinued for a period of time, but we've had so many people request for us to bring it back that we've redone the whole product and have now put it back in so you can now use this add-on with MetaStock again, and we're very excited about it. Fire is a tool that allows you to do broad market analysis, breadth indicators, external relative strength, and also build your own custom indices. Now, that's a lot to take in, and we're going to kind of take you through each of those bits piece by piece and show you what Fire can do. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of it and show you this product. Now, the first thing obviously we have to do when we get into webinars, we do have to show you a quick disclaimer. Let me just read this, get through it, and then we'll be able to get right into the product. This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins and is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So basically, this is don't make any buy or sell take any buy or sells based off of what I'm telling you. This is an overview of what software can do and how it can help you in your trading. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about broad market analysis first. What broad market analysis is and how it can help you in your trading. So basically, if you think of an index, something like the Dow Jones or the S&P 500, or if you're in India, the Nifty 50 or the ASX 200, anything like that would be considered a broad market indicator. So if we're talking about that, we're talking about groupings of stocks actually put together to give you a gauge for how that group of stocks is performing. So that's what a broad market indicator is. Now, when we take that, we can actually move in and hone in on these and actually learn more about the market and what it's doing. And that's what we're going to talk about as we go through this presentation on Fire today. So Fire allows us to do three different things. One is it allows us to build our own custom indices. So that would be, so when we're talking about the Dow 30, well, now we can actually build our own indexes based off of our watch list or our 401k or things like that. Breadth indicators allow us to do things like the McClellan Oscillator, the absolute breadth, the overbought, oversold, those types of things. And then external relative strength is something that allows us to look at a weighting of stocks to see how a particular stock is weighted within a group. So we'll get into all that and how it works, but let's actually start with custom indices and building your own custom indices. Okay, so this again allows us to do groupings of stocks that we choose. So rather than things like the Dow 30 or S&P 500, I can now do my own watch list. I can do, so if I have a watch list or if I have a portfolio list, or if I want to do something like the optionable stocks and create an index of the optionable stocks, you can do that now. So this is what's really unique about Fire, is it allows you to do this kind of stuff. So I'm not going to, so what I'm going to do is just quickly show you the app to do this. In this video, I'm not going to show you how to build all this stuff and do this. I want to show you what Fire can actually do within MetaStock. But this is the app that allows us to actually do all this custom building of lists and different breadth indicators and everything. So I'll refer to this app, but in this video, we're primarily going to focus on the output and what you get in MetaStock. And then there'll be another video that'll show you how to do everything within MetaStock. So let's go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint here. And so this is what some examples of what you can do. Now, for my example that I'm going to show you, I've gone into the Fire app and I've built an index of optionable stocks. So if I go to MetaStock now, you can see here I've built this custom indice. So if I open that up, it's US optionable stocks. All I have to do is select that and then I can open it just like any other chart. So if I zoom in, you can see that I have an open, high, low, close of this. So this is actually taking around 4,200 securities, combining them together, and then making an index based off of them. That's actually a really cool feature of this product to be able to do this. So I've built this custom index. Now, if I was trading optionable stocks, this is actionable for me because I can look at how that index of options is performing as a whole. Another thing I can do is I can actually compare this against something like the S&P 500 or the Dow to see how it performs. So I could actually come up here and go to Insert Instrument. So that would be another symbol. And I could say add in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So let's go ahead and add that in, and let's put it in its own window. So this will bring in the Dow. So now I can look at how my index of the optionable stocks compares against the Dow. I have it in its own window. If I want to, I can actually move it down and overlay it. So let's actually display a new scale on the left since they'll be kind of different. And let's take out that window. So now I can see my optionable index against the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So I can get a weighting of how well these things correlate together and how well they work. Then the cool thing again is you can do this on any list that you want to. You're not tied to any broad market anymore. You're now able to create your own, which is very, very cool and very awesome. So that's an example of building and using custom indices within the Fire app and within MetaStock. So let's now go into our next section, which are breadth indicators. Now, breadth indicators are a very unique way of looking at a particular stock or a particular index to see what's happening with it. It's getting more in depth. So let's kind of just take a look at the definition here. I got this from Investopedia. So breadth indicators are mathematical formulas that measure the number of advancing and declining stocks. So what's that doing? Say, let's say we say look at the S&P 500. We're looking at how many stocks are going up and how many stocks are going down. So number going up would be advancing issues and going down to be declining issues. Okay, so that's what that is. And or their volume, and calculate the participation in a stock's index price movements. By evaluating how many stocks are increasing or decreasing in price and how much volume these stocks are trading, breadth indicators can help in confirming stock price index trends or can warn of impending price reversals. So these are really powerful tools to help you identify what's coming up and what's happening with a particular index. Now, you can do this on any index, so like S&P 100 stocks, S&P 500 stocks, Nifty 50 stocks, ASX 200, whatever market, it doesn't matter. And what's great now is you can build it on those broad market things, or you can build it on your own custom lists. So there's some really unique things that you can do with Fire in the way that it can be built. Now, these are a list of the breadth indicators that actually come built in with Fire. So we have these 15 different breadth indicators. We're going to talk a little bit about some of these indicators. We won't go through all of them in this presentation, but I'll show you a resource that you can use to actually get in and learn more about all these different breadth indicators. So these breadth indicators are calculated based off of what we just talked about. So we need to know what are the advancing and declining issues, what are those volume things. So there's a lot of data that we actually need before we can look at a breadth indicator. So the Fire app has a set of tools built into it that let us calculate these breadth indicators. So just to show you in the app over here, if I come into breadth indicators, it lets me get all this data automatically. So I can just run a big calculation, have it output all the data for me, and I don't need to do anything more than that, and then select what list I want to do it on. Or I can create my own in here as well. So there's some really cool things that we can do with the Fire app and actually building custom data and looking at custom data and then being able to plot it over time. So let's go in and let's look at some of the outputs and what we're able to get out of FIRE. So again, these are the 15 breadth indicators that are calculated. So the first one, let's talk about the advanced decline line. This is one of the outputs that we can get. So the advanced decline line is one of the most widely used of the breadth indicators. It's a cumulative total of the advancing minus declining issues indicator. Remember, so that's number of stocks going up, number of stocks going down, when compared to the movement of a market index, Dow Jones Industrials, S&P 500. The AD line is proven to be an effective gauge of the stock market strength. So when we're looking at this, remember, we don't have to think in terms of these big market indexes anymore. You can actually do this on any list that you want to do, even down to your own watch list or whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at how an advanced decline line outputs to a particular stock. Let's close this chart. And I ran this output on the S&P 100. So let's just open that up here. We'll open .oex, that's the S&P 100 index. Okay, so we've got that. Now these outputs actually go into the indicator dropdown in MetaStock. So we're just going to drop down and we're going to find that FIRE breadth advanced decline line. So all I have to do is plot that up here. And I like to look at it more as a histogram. So I'm just going to change it to a histogram and make it a little bit thicker so you can see it on your screen and put it there. Okay, so this is a cumulative value of advancing minus declines. And we can see as the market has continued upward, we're seeing that same continuation upward in the advanced decline line. Now, as the market starts to turn, so let's look at this really quickly. So as the market starts to turn, you'll see this downward motion and obviously in price, but you'll also see that downward motion in the advanced decline line. So this is a really powerful way to gauge how the market's turning and how it correlates to what's actually happening on the stocks. Okay, so and we can look at the same long-term type of effect it has on price there. We see those same movements. Now, time to time, you can see divergences in this. So it's a really powerful way to look at it when you have a divergence. Okay, but the advanced decline line is a great confirmation of what's actually happening and helping you understand market direction, as we talked about. Okay, so again, this is helpful in measuring overall market strength. When more stocks are advancing than declining, the AD line moves up and vice versa, which is what we just saw on the screen. Okay, another powerful one that a lot of people use is the McClellan Oscillator. So the McClellan Oscillator is based on the smooth difference between the number of advancing and declining issues. So this is why it's so important to calculate that data first and see that. So basically what we see here is we see an overbought, oversold indicator. So let's actually plot it on the chart. We're going to go up here and we're going to go down to FIRE 2.0 again, and we're going to look for the McClellan Oscillator. So here it is right here. Let's go ahead and plot that in the chart. Now this one, we actually want to look at it as a histogram. Let's make it a little thicker again, and let's make it blue this time so we can take a little look. Okay, so this indicator works in such a way that it tells us when we are overbought or oversold. Okay, the lower this goes down, the more oversold we are. So we're looking for buying opportunities. So you can see this dip here. Let me grab a circle here. So as we look right here, we see we're dipped here at the bottom. We're extremely oversold. And then we start to ramp up as price goes back up. Here again, as we hit the extreme level up to that 10, you can see the 10s are the high level on this particular one because it's going to be based off of your list. As we hit that 10, it's telling us that we're extremely overbought now. So when we're extremely overbought, what happens is we get that reversal in price. And you can see that consistently here where we have this, we get up above that 10, and then we have that reversal. Okay, so these are this could be a good indicator of reversals in the market. Okay, so it's a powerful way of looking and understanding at what's actually happening. Now, where are we on this particular chart? Well, we're down to 7.8, so we're getting close to that extreme oversold and start to look for a buying opportunity. So this is a great indicator to use in conjunction with other indicators to look for confirmation of trend. Okay, so that's an overview of the McClellan. Let's look at one more just to kind of get a good depth overview of this. So another overbought, oversold indicator. So this one is based on the smooth difference between advancing and declining issues. So it actually looks a lot like the McClellan Oscillator when it's plotted, but it will give you kind of a smoothed out view of that McClellan, as I've just said. So let's actually take a look at it here. Let's go down to Fire 2.0 and let's look for the overbought, oversold, excuse me. So let's go ahead and plot that on the chart. And let's look at it you can look at it this way. Again, some of these I like to look at in this more oscillator type view. And let's make this one green so we can see the difference. Now you'll notice that this works again a lot like, and it looks very close to the McClellan Oscillator, but this one is smoothed out with a 10-period exponential moving average, so it kind of smooths it just a little bit. But you can see those same types of extremes will often indicate an overbought or an oversold situation. So these breadth indicators can really help us dive in and understand the underlying data and get a good feel for what's actually happening in the underlying market. And that's an important thing when we're trading, is understanding that underlying market. So that's the last one I'm going to take you through. Now, before I show you, close out of this section, I do want to show you just one other thing that's not actually a breadth indicator that the calculations will do. So if we go back down here into the Fire, you'll notice there's actually a wide range of different things that I have not plotted as part of the breadth indicators. So things like number of 250-day highs, so yearly highs, cumulative new lows. So these are numbers that you can plot and look and see how many things are actually making their new highs on a daily basis and plot it over time. Another thing you can do is you can look at how many stocks are over their moving average. So I could say, let's just grab the moving average. So you see this moving average above moving average here. I'm going to plot that. And so what I can say is I want 50 and 200. So I want to know how many stocks are the 50 period moving average above the 200 period moving average. So this gives me a count of that number. So let's go ahead and plot that. And you can see out of the S&P 100 right now, that number is 68. So I still have a high number of stocks that their 50 period moving average is above the 200 period moving average. So that's still a large portion of that index that are still bullish in that sense. So I can use these things to help me gauge together what's my overall picture. How is this actually giving me good buys and sells? So good note there on some other things that you can do. Now, if you want to learn more about breadth indicators and how these breadth indicators work, you can actually go to metastock.com/customer/resources and then look at this book. It's called Technical Analysis from A to Z. It's written by Steve Akalis, who's the original creator of MetaStock, and he actually talks about all these different indicators and how to use them fully and give some good examples of them. So that's a great free resource if you'd like to learn more about breadth indicators. So finally, the last thing I want to talk about is external relative strength. But first, I think it's important to talk about what relative strength is and the different types of relative strength. So firstly, the relative strength index, the RSI, measures an instrument's strength against its historical performance. Okay, so that's the standard RSI. Comparative relative strength measures multiple instruments against a common benchmark, like a market index. Okay, so that's saying, well, how's Apple performing against the S&P 100? That's a comparative relative strength. What we're actually talking about with FIRE, and this is really unique, is external relative strength, or ERSA. So basically what this does is it measures rate of change over a period of time and then compares it to every other stock in your list. And again, this can be the S&P 100, 500 optionable stocks, or it could be your own watch list, okay? These things aren't tied anymore to these specific broad market indicators because you can make your own again. So then what it does is it comes up with a percentile rank from 0 to 99 and gives it a rank. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into MetaStock. Let's actually close all my charts here. And let's go into the Explorer now. So this is actually a function that gets really powerful within the Explorer. So let's go down here and we're going to look for the FIRE 2.0 ERSA report. And then what I want to do is run it against the S&P 100. Again, you can run it against anything, but I've already run my batch calculations for this. And let's go ahead and start my exploration. We want to run it on my local stocks that I have selected. Okay, so now we have our external relative strength. If I rank on any of these, you'll see it'll give me that number from 0 to 99. So I have 99 here at the top, go down to the bottom, and it goes down to 0. So in this circumstance, NVIDIA is my top moving stock within, based off of rate of change, within the S&P 100. So you can see it was my one of my top ranked stocks today, 5 days ago, 21 days ago, 60 days ago. And so this one has really moved. So if I open up NVIDIA there in the back, and I'll just move this to the side, you can see NVIDIA's just had a great run. So I can see that movement. And then I can come down here and I can say, well, what's my bottom? So let's go ahead and open up the opposite here, and you can see that ranking here. Now, Occidental Petroleum has been my worst performer over that whole 250 period. So over that last year, it's been my worst performer. So this is a way where you can look at, well, maybe how have things changed from 5 days ago to today? So if I come down, I can look and see if anything's moving 21 days ago and kind of get a good feel for what's moved. And a lot of these kind of have the same consistency. Adobe's lost a little bit of ground. PayPal's about the same. Amazon has lost just a little bit of ground. So you can go through and look at this. Now, one thing that I really like here is this ability to look for things that are moving. So what we're going to look at is this 20-point gainer. So what it does is it looks over 21 periods and says, hey, over the last 21 periods, which ones have moved more than 20 points? So I can look for stocks that are really starting to move in that upward fashion. So here I can see, here's my current external relative strength. Here's what it was 21 days ago and what it's changed. So you can see that we've had quite a move here with General Motors. So let's go ahead and open up GM. And I can see that move here, that it's really taken off. It's really gained strength within that S&P 100 group. I can also plot that ERSA indicator here to show you how it looks. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and grab ERSA, plot it on the chart, and you can see that ramp up in its strength compared to everything else within that S&P 100 group, which can now help us identify stocks that are really starting their big move and preparing for that move with other indicators. So this is a great thing to use in conjunction with other indicators because you've identified something that has strength. Now we can look for a confirmation. Okay, so that's a great way to use ERSA as part of your trading. Okay, so again, scan and compare, plot and rank, just as we've done. We've identified those opportunities. Now let's talk about how much FIRE is. So FIRE is actually just a one-time cost. It runs $399, If you have the old version of Fire, as I alluded to at the beginning of the video, this was a product we've had before. We've completely redone the product to make it more modern and much easier to use than it was historically. There is an upgrade cost available. You can contact sales and they can actually help you with that. So this is something that you can go to metastock.com to pick up. You can chat with our sales team at metastock.com/sales chat, or you can give us a call at 800-882-3040 or our international number 801-506-0900. Now, the most important thing is this product is available on a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can try it out, see how it works for you. If it does, fantastic. If you don't feel like this fits in your trading, feel free to go ahead and refund it for a full refund within 30 days. Now, one thing I will note about Fire, as we're talking about its price and everything, Fire actually uses local data only. So it's something that you will set up your local data files and use local data to do the calculations. Because they are such intense calculations, local data works a lot better for it. So that is one thing to note. But I encourage you to give this a try and see how broad market analysis can really help you in your trading and really help you dial in on those particular trading examples and how you can find the best trades. So I hope you found this video informative. I encourage you again to try Fire out to see how it can help you in your trading. And I wish you the best of trading success.